Reporting activities is an essential component of being a Master Wellness Volunteer, and if you're not reporting your activities, you're not actively and fully participating in the program. We need to report our activities so that we can know what you're doing at the community level and then aggregate that with what your colleagues are doing at the county level, what all the counties are doing at the district level, what all the districts are doing at the regional level, and then what all the regions are doing at the state level. This helps us better interpret our activities to our stakeholders and our funders and our partners, and give some satisfaction for the work that we're doing. So let's talk about reporting. We'll start at the Master Wellness Volunteer website, which is agrilife.org/MWV. And from here, you can do a lot of things. You can learn more about the program. You can access all the online courses. We'll come back to the reporting in a moment. You can see events that are planned on the event calendar. And then I'm a quasi-infrequent blogger, but to that point, when you've got successes or when you do something really great or when you've just got something that you want to share with the world, send the note about it to your county extension agent and we'll put it up on the blog. But today we're going to talk about reporting. The reporting form lives on the website 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so you can access it whenever you want to. We're not going to tell you when and how to report everything, but we would like you to get all your reports in by the 2nd of every month. So whether you choose to report right after a program ends, or maybe at the end of the week, or maybe towards the end of the month, do what fits your schedule, but please have all your reports done by the 2nd of each month. And then that lets us pull down reports and get them to the county extension agents in time for their reporting deadlines. So let's look at what it takes to do a report. Click the reporting tab and it takes me to the reporting form. The video that you're watching now lives right here. So if you need a refresher or if you don't quite get it the first time, or if you just want to hear the sound of my voice again, click the video here and you can get a quick tutorial about what it means to report. We ask you for your first initial and your last name. This isn't to sell you a service or to bother you about anything, but let's say I get through this entire report and I inadvertently put that I've reached 29 million people, the estimated population of the state of Texas. The county extension agent may want to get back in touch with me to see, wow, did you really do that? We need to celebrate this. Or was there kind of a slip in your finger and you really meant to report 29 people? So we do ask that you put your first initial and your last name in these fields. Now, because we're just doing a test run here, I'm going to put my first name as Test and my last name as Test. When you finish this module in the course, I'd encourage you to jump over to the agrilife.org/MWV site, click on the reporting tab, and do your own test run. When you're doing a test run, use your first and last as Test. When you're doing a real report, use your first and last as what your first initial and last name are. Next, we'll go down to the county field. I'm currently in Amarillo, Texas, which is in Potter County. All 254 counties in the state of Texas are listed here, and so I want to be sure to choose the one that I'm a Master Wellness Volunteer in. That happens to be Potter. If I choose Polk, it's a completely different area of the state, completely different set of agents, administrators, stakeholders, etc. If I choose Presidio, same deal, different area of the state, different agents, different administrators, different stakeholders. So I want to be sure I get this right. So Potter is my county, and you'll notice this region came alive when I chose Potter. This is going to automatically choose what region you're in. All the more reason to be sure that county name is right. I'm in the North region, and then the district came alive. I'm in District 1. Again, this helps us aggregate what you're doing with what other people in your county are doing, with other people in your district are doing, and with what other people in your region are doing. But it's all based on getting this county right the first time. I'll use this little maroon arrow button to advance to the next section of the report. Now we want to know what type of activity you did. Was it an educational program, a food demonstration, a health fair? Was it part of your internship or training hours? Marketing or promotion? Was it a planning meeting? Was it program preparation? These 7 are your main types of activities, and we would really appreciate it if you would try to fit whatever you're reporting in these 7. Other is here as a last resort. And I say a last resort because when we first started doing online reporting back in 2013, at the end of that year, we had just as much other as we did education. And we want to be sure we're emphasizing one of these main categories before we choose other and put, whatever that was, a zebra rodeo or something. Okay, so please look at that list, and before you choose other, look at it one more time just to make sure what you're reporting doesn't fit into one of those categories before you choose other. So for our purposes today, we're going to call it an educational program. And then we need to know if you're reporting an activity for Better Living for Texans. Better Living for Texans often has special educational requirements, special audiences, etc. And if you're not sure if your activity qualifies as a BLT activity or should be counted as a BLT activity, please check with your county extension agent. Ask him or her about that before you choose yes or no. Oftentimes, if you're doing BLT work, you will know that. But if you're not sure, go ahead and give an ask to your county extension agent. For our purposes today, I'm going to choose no, that this is not a BLT activity. Then we want a title and a brief description of the activity. So we want to be pretty descriptive, but also pretty succinct. Enough to describe what's going on, but not something that begins, since the dawn of man. So I'm going to put in that I'm doing a Master Wellness Volunteer training video. And then my description will be something like recording to demonstrate online reporting. And that's probably sufficient enough for the county extension agent to know what I'm doing here. Then we'll put in the date. Today is the 9th day of January, 2020. And I am at my office at 6500 Amarillo Boulevard West. Now, if I don't know the address of the location where I am, I might just put the AgriLife Center. And that's in Amarillo. And the zip code here is 79106. We get a lot of questions about why the zip code is important. A lot of our reporting is done based on a zip code. And so we really ask you to try to get the zip code correct, the city correct. And then again, if you don't know the address, just the name of the location. If you were at the Wesley Community Center or if you were at the food bank or whatever, put in something descriptive for your location there, even if you don't know the address. Then we want to know the number of people you reached, and we need to break this down by race and ethnicity, gender, and age. And I'd ask you to leave the zeros intact if you don't have anything to report for that field. Sometimes when you go to submit, if the field is empty, the form doesn't like it. So if you've got nothing to report in an area, go ahead and leave the zeros there. So for our purposes today, we'll say we reached 10 African Americans. We'll say we reached 10 Asians, 5 Caucasians, 4 Hispanic and Latino, 2 Native Americans, and then there were 10 people there unknown. And notice that it calculates for you at the bottom. Then we'll break them down by male and female. So we had 41 people. For our purposes today, I'm just making this up, but we're going to go ahead and say that we had 30 females and 11 males. And then for our purposes today, we will say that all 41 people were adults. And because I've got no youth to report, I'm going to leave that 0 there. And then we'll collect the number of hours. So we ask that you round everything to the nearest quarter hour. So 0.25 is 15 minutes, 0.5 is 30, 0.75 is 45, and then an hour. So I'm going to say that I spent an hour on program delivery. I'm going to say that I spent 45 minutes on program preparation. I'm going to say I spent 15 minutes on setup and cleanup. And I'm going to say I spent 30 minutes traveling. And then again, because I've got nothing in the planning meeting field and nothing in the training field and nothing in the other field, I'm going to leave those zeros intact. And notice that the system has calculated that I'm reporting 2.5 hours. And then I want to describe any significant details, results, partnerships, anything you want the county extension agent to know that stood out about this activity. Again, we want to be descriptive but succinct. So if your inclination is to start this with since the dawn of man, let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit to what happened during the kind of these 2.5 hours that we're just reporting. So I'm going to say here, a good time was had by all. I think I made some really good points and contacts. And then you'll notice that says thank you for completing this. Clicking this arrow will go ahead and submit the report. And when I click it, it's going to record the report that I just made, and it's going to pop me back out to the main Master Wellness Volunteer page where I'm ready to go back and submit another report. Again, just to emphasize the importance of reporting on your own schedule, but please have them in by the 2nd of every month. And just to be able to show you the collective impact, that little 2.5 hours that I made up and reported gets combined with all of the other activities that are done across the state throughout the year and leads us to impacts like this, where in 2019, Master Wellness Volunteers provided almost 8,700 hours of service, reaching more than 56,000.